Yeah, so we started there with a freeze count, trying to see if they would align. We knew their DC was going to call based off formation. So when we got the next call in, he called a play based off our formation. Well, they didn't jump, so we went right into the next play. Well, when you get we moved around, they checked. So when they checked to a field pressure, we checked back into an angle. It all happened really quickly, and there's like three different things going on, the communication with the O-line, and you got to tell each and everybody in their ear because it's loud, it's hostile, and again, it goes back to preparation. We did that on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We knew what we were going to do. We knew how we were going to operate, but there's a lot of options. We play with a lot of options on the field, and that's why I think we play at a high level.
Okay, so let's break down what that all means. Initially, you see the Utah defense, they line up in single high coverage with the cornerback on the field side giving cushion to Tez Johnson. That won't really matter because Utah is trying to change the look pre-snap. So they'll roll up this safety in Bishop, move him over into the box, take number 15 Johnson, move him as the safety on the field side, and then they'll take number 28 here, and they'll drop him as the boundary side safety. That's the first pre-snap look that Bo Nix is going to get. At this point, Bo knows it's zone coverage because of the cushion that is given to the slot receivers. There was no one directly assigned to either Tez Johnson on the field side slot or Terrence Ferguson on the near side slot. The field side being the side of the field that has more grass. The ball is on the left hash, so the right side of the field is the field side. The left side of the field is the boundary side. Now, what Bo is talking about when he says freeze count, it's also known as hard count. It's basically meaning they're not going to snap the ball. They just want to see the look that the defense is going to give them. This is where Utah really shows their hand defensively because they shift once again prior to the hard count or the freeze count. They'll move the two linebackers close to the line of scrimmage, and that creates 4 threats to rush from the right side of the offensive line. That's where Bo Nix knows the field side pressure is where Utah is going to bring the blitz. While all that is happening, the boundary side safety that they already dropped back from the slot is now going to rotate all the way around, and he is going to come close to the box on the boundary side, playing inside leverage on Tez Johnson. That creates another threat on that side of the field. So all Utah has done from the beginning of this play is move bodies from the boundary side to the field side. Bo then communicates with his offensive line that the threat is coming from that field side. He's aligning the protection. He also, during this frenzy before the snap, because watch the play clock winding down, he flips the running back. It creates stress on the defense towards the boundary side. Now, why is that? Because now this is where Utah is really set up in their formation for the play. It's all a numbers game to the boundary side. There's a cornerback aligned over top of the outside receiver. There is the linebacker who is traditionally going to come out and cover the slot receiver. And then there's this defensive end as well on that boundary side of the field. And now Oregon has 3 options on the boundary side for 3 defenders that are, once again, in zone coverage. Let's focus on the offensive line for the start of this play. Utah brings 5 rushers. They even stunt 2 different defensive linemen. Oregon, because they had their protection aligned, they slide the pocket to the right side. They slide the protection to the right side. So even though Utah brings as many as Oregon has blocking, the Ducks are still able to pick it up. Now let's focus on the coverage. What's the coverage? Utah is going to rotate what originally looks like a single high safety into a cover 2, meaning there's 2 deep defenders on the play. They'll rotate this number 5 and drop him into the deep zone on the boundary side of the field. Now the defensive end, he'll drop out and he'll be in the flat here on the boundary side. That puts all the pressure on this linebacker because this linebacker now with what Oregon is going to run has to decide if he's going to take Terrence Ferguson up the seam or Jordan James on the angle. because that one linebacker is in charge of everything inside, and Oregon's just going to give him two different guys to guard. So the second that he comes out onto Terrence Ferguson and this defensive end drops into his flat, Jordan James is wide open. And because Utah dropped into a cover 2 and rotated their safety, there's no one over the middle of the field to make the tackle on Jordan James as he waltzes into the end zone.